Imagine being at the absolute top of the world, crowned as champions of everything, and then suddenly, everything falls apart. This isn't a Hollywood movie plot. This is the shocking, jaw-dropping reality of Manchester City right now. 6 consecutive defeats. A nightmare scenario that's sending shockwaves through the football world. The defending champions looking lost, confused, and completely out of their depth. Let's break down exactly what's happening. Manchester City, a team that's been practically invincible, a footballing machine that's dominated every competition for years.
The magic, the might, the majesty of Manchester City, champions.
Is now experiencing a meltdown so extraordinary. 6 consecutive defeats. Let that sink in for a moment. These aren't just any defeats. We're talking about losses across different competitions. Premier League, Champions League, domestic cups. Each loss more painful and perplexing than the last. To truly understand how rare this is, let me give you some historical context. The last time defending champions suffered such a consecutive defeat streak was way back in 1956, when television was still black and white and football looked completely different. We're talking about a scenario so unusual that most current football fans have never witnessed anything remotely similar. Imagine a team that just completed a historic treble, winning the Premier League, FA Cup, and Champions League in the same season, suddenly looking like a group of amateur players who've never kicked a football before. When we dig deeper into the stats, Manchester City's current crisis gets even more bizarre. Compare this season to their treble-winning year, and the numbers are like night and day. Their shots on target are down by 40%. Possession control has dropped from a consistent 65% to barely 55%, and their defensive interceptions have plummeted by a staggering 30%. But here's the real kicker. In their last 5 matches, they've created fewer meaningful chances than most mid-table teams. Their expected goals metric has crashed from an impressive 2.1 per game last season to a miserable 0.8. For a team that was basically a living, breathing statistical machine, these numbers aren't just bad, they're practically unrecognizable. But wait, there's more drama. In a moment that will be etched in Premier League history, Manchester City became the first team ever to fail to win after leading 3-0 with just 15 minutes remaining. Picture this. A seemingly certain victory turning into a shocking 3-3 draw that felt more like a crushing defeat. At the 75-minute mark, City looked comfortable. Fans were already celebrating, commentators discussing their dominance. And then, complete and total collapse. This isn't just a bad result. It's a historic meltdown that perfectly captures the shocking vulnerability of a team that was once considered unbeatable. Now let's talk about the mastermind behind this team. Pep Guardiola, a manager whose tactical genius has been praised worldwide. The same guy who's revolutionized modern football, won almost everything possible, and been considered the most innovative coach of his generation. But right now, he looks more confused than a tourist trying to navigate the London Underground during a strike. Let's dissect Guardiola's recent transfer decisions, which are now under microscopic scrutiny. Remember when Pep let go of Cole Palmer? At the time, it seemed like just another tactical move in his grand chess game. Now, it looks like he's accidentally given away a secret weapon to a rival. The replacements, Mateo Kovacic and Mateus Nunes, haven't exactly set the world on fire. In fact, they've been more like wet matches, struggling to create any spark whatsoever. The magic, the tactical brilliance, the extraordinary understanding, it's just not translating onto the pitch. Here's the deep, uncomfortable truth about Guardiola. His brilliance can sometimes be a double-edged sword. His tactical approach, once considered revolutionary, is now looking increasingly predictable. His over-reliance on Rodri has become glaringly obvious. When Rodri isn't playing, the midfield looks more confused than a cat in a dog show. It's exposed a significant vulnerability in what was once considered the most tactically sophisticated team in world football. Let's have an honest conversation about the players. These aren't just footballers. These are supposed to be generational talents. Phil Foden, a player hyped as England's next big thing, the potential successor to legends like Steven Gerrard and Frank Lampard. Right now, he's more like a flickering light bulb than a blazing star. The potential is there, but the consistency is missing. Jack Grealish, Bought for a transfer fee that could probably buy a small country. His price tag? A whopping £100 million. His current performances? Generously described as underwhelming. Compare this to players like Kulusevski and Maddison at Tottenham, who are showing exactly the kind of dynamism, creativity, and excitement that City is desperately missing. The Liverpool match wasn't just another game in the football calendar. This was a potential season-defining, potentially era-defining moment. A loss would leave City 11 points behind in the title race. Imagine the narrative, going from treble winners to potentially losing the title race before spring even arrives. It's like falling from the absolute peak of Mount Everest straight to base camp. So, what's really happening? Is this a temporary glitch in an otherwise perfect machine? Or are we witnessing the potential beginning of the end of Pep Guardiola's Manchester City era? The beauty of football is that nobody knows for sure. And that uncertainty is what makes this moment so incredibly compelling. I want to hear from you, the passionate football fans. This isn't just a monologue. This is a conversation. Drop a comment below. Are you Team Pep, believing this is just a temporary setback that they'll bounce back from? Or do you think major fundamental changes are needed? Is Guardiola still the tactical revolutionary we all know and respect? Or has the football world finally cracked the code to his once unbeatable system? Hit that subscribe button, ring the notification bell, and let's continue this conversation. Football isn't just a game. It's a drama that keeps us all on the edge of our seats, living and breathing every single moment.